Calculating visits per day. The following example shows how you can use the bit group functions to calculate the number of days per month a user has visited a web page. So this is the example that we are going to use, and we are going to go to our terminal. You can go into your MySQL terminal. I'm going to go into my Windows PowerShell, and we're going to type in our credentials. So it's going to be like this, and then -p. I'm going to enter my password, and okay, I'm in. So I'm going to, let me see. Okay, we're going to type in show databases semicolon, and we are going to use the common queries, so common queries databases like that, and then we can show tables, and we have that. So now we are going to create a table named T1, so we can just make this one smaller, and okay, so the font is going to be bigger. So now we're going to create table, and it's going to be table T1 and lowercase t. We're going to open parentheses, and we're going to have the year, and then, well, it's going to be in lowercase letters, and then we're going to type again year, but this time in uppercase letters. So we're going to have the month, okay, the month, and then we're going to have the integer, and it's going to be unsigned like this. We're going to separate it by a comma, and then we are going to have the day, also is going to be an integer, and it's going to be unsigned like this. Okay, so we close the parentheses, and we can end up this statement with a semicolon. So let's type it in, query, okay, 0 rows affected. Okay, now we are going to insert, so we're going to insert into the table 1 the values. So we're going to insert into the table T1 that we just created these values. So, and it's going to be 2000, 1, 1, and then, well, this is inside of the parentheses of values, and we're going to have a comma. We're going to open close parentheses. It's going to be 2000, it's going to be 1, 20, another comma, we open parentheses, and again it's going to be 2000, 1, and this is going to be 30. Okay, so, and again we're going to do, it's going to be 2000, 2, and then 2, another one, and it's going to be it's going to be like this. It's going to be 2000, let's make it wider, so 2000, 2, 2, okay, 2000, 2, 23, and finally the last one, that is going to be 2000, 2, 23. So we have that, and we end up this statement with a semicolon, and yeah, let's check it out. So query, okay, 6 rows affected. So yeah, record 6, duplicate 0, warning 0, so that's fine. Now the example table contains year, month, day values representing visits by users to the page. To determine how many different days in each month these visits occur, use this query. So we're gonna check out this query, and we're gonna type in select. It's gonna be select. We're gonna select the year, comma, the month, okay, the month, and now we're gonna use in uppercase letters bit underscore count, and we're gonna open parentheses, and it's gonna be bit underscore, and it's going to be the logical operator or, and inside we're going to open parentheses. It's going to be 1, and it's going to be less than, so we're going to use this signs twice, and it's going to be less than day, and then we're going to close this parentheses and the bit parentheses. So we're closing this one and then this parentheses here, and we're gonna type it in as days, and it's gonna be from T1 like this. So to the next line we're gonna group it, and we're gonna group it by the year, so by the year, and also by the, okay, by the month, and we're gonna end up this statement with a semicolon. So which turn, so we should get this one. Let me see, let's press enter here, and this is what we have. So As you can see, we have 3 columns. We have the year column, the month, and the day. And the year is 2000, month 1, 2, and the day is 3 and 2. Since we are using it from the table T1, so the query calculates how many different days appear in the table for each year/month combination with automatic removal of duplicate entries. So this is it for the calculating visits per day, and now we're gonna move into this final part, that is the using auto_increment. So the auto_increment attribute can be used to generate a unique identity for new rows. So let's try this example. So we're gonna create a table animals, and then we're gonna insert some values into the table animals. So let's try it out. So it's gonna be create table, and it's gonna be animals like this. We're gonna open parentheses. To the next line, we're gonna have the ID, and it's gonna be medium. Okay, medium integer like this, and it's gonna be not null, and then we're gonna have the auto_increment. Then we're gonna have a comma. Okay, so to the next line, we're gonna have the name, and also we're gonna have in the char, and we're gonna pass in a value of 30, and this is gonna be not null, and it's gonna be with uppercase letters. So to the next line, we're gonna have the primary key, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna pass in the ID. And what else do we have? So we can close this with the parentheses, and then we put in the semicolon at the end. Let's try it in. So query okay, 0 rows affected, so that's fine. Now we're gonna insert. So we're gonna type in insert into animals, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna pass in name. Okay, so now we're gonna pass in values. So to the next line, we can pass into the parentheses, we're gonna pass in dog. So we're gonna separate this parentheses with a comma. We're gonna have here a cat separated with a comma, inside of the parentheses single quotes, and we are gonna have this time, we're gonna have a penguin like this, separated by a comma. And you can move to the next line. We're gonna have a lax, comma, parentheses, single quotes, and we're gonna have a whale. Okay, a whale, and okay, and finally we're gonna have an ostrich. So it's gonna be like this. Ostrich, and we're gonna end up this statement with a semicolon. So query okay, 6 rows affected, record 6 duplicates, warning 0, so that's fine. And now we're just gonna use the select from all columns from the animals table. So it's gonna be animals like this, semicolon, and this is what we have. We have the, okay, let me make it bigger. So we have the ID and the name. So, and the ID is gonna be 1 2 3 4 5 6, and the name, well, we have the dog, the cat, the penguin, the lax, the whale, and the ostrich. So this is what we are returning, as you can see. So no value was specified for the auto increment column or the auto_increment column, so MySQL assigns sequence numbers automatically. You can also explicitly assign 0 to the column to generate sequence numbers unless no auto value on 0 SQL mode is enabled. For example, we can insert animals, so into the animals table, the ID, comma, name, and the value is going to be 0, and it's going to be the ground dog. So let's try it out. We're going to type in insert into animals, and inside of the parentheses we're passing the ID and also the name. Okay, outside we're gonna pass in the values, and it's gonna be 0, and in single quotes is we're gonna have in the ground. Oh, it's gonna be like this. It's gonna be the groundhog, like this. We end up with a semicolon, and here we have query okay, one row affected. So let's try it in again. And now, as you can see, when we select from all columns from the animals table, now we have the ID 7, and then we have the groundhog. As you can see here, we have only from 1 to 6, so now we have from 1 to 7. So if the column is declared not null, it is also possible to assign null to the column to generate sequence numbers. For example, now we're gonna pretty much do the same as this example, but instead of 0 we're gonna type in null. So let's try it in, and I'm just pressing in my keyboard, I'm just pressing the keyboard page up, so the arrow pointing up, and it's just gonna insert into animal. Let me see, it was this one. Okay, so I have it here, and instead of 0 I'm just gonna type in uppercase letters null, like this. So let me see, insert into animals ID name, values null, grounding. Okay, so we are changing also the name of groundhog to the squirrel, so it's gonna be squirrel, like this, and then we press enter. Okay, so query okay, one row affected, and let's try it in. And as you can see, we have from the ID from 1 to 8 this time, and number 8 is the squirrel, so that's fine. When you insert any other value into an auto underscore increment column, the column is set to that value and the sequence is reset so that the next automatically generated value follows sequentially from the largest column value. For example, here they're giving us these examples. We're gonna do pretty much what we were doing, so we can just follow here, and I can press in the keyboard the page up, and we can, instead of, well, we have the insert into animal, we have the ID name, everything is fine, the values, but instead of 0 it's gonna be 100. It's gonna be 100, and in the single quote we're gonna have a rabbit, like this. So we have that, and we're gonna insert it. Let me see, 100. Okay, one row affected, and let's do it again, but this time we're gonna type in null, and again I'm pressing in my keyboard, I'm pressing the page up or just the up arrow, and instead of rabbit we're gonna have mouse and lowercase letters, so mouse. Okay, so we're gonna press enter. Okay, that's fine, and now we're gonna select from animals, so select from animals, and now let me see, as you can see here we have 100. Okay, 100 is gonna be the rabbit, as you can see here, and 101 is gonna be the mouse. So that's fine, that's how you can insert more values into this table that we name it animals. Okay, so updating an existing auto underscore increment column value also resets the auto underscore increment sequence. You can retrieve the most recent automatically generated auto underscore increment value with the last insert ID, open close parentheses, SQL function, or the MySQL insert ID, open with parentheses, and this C API function. These functions are connection specific, so the return values are not affected by another connection which is also performing inserts. So use the smallest integer data type for the auto underscore increment column that is large enough to hold the maximum sequence value for your value that you require. When the column reaches the upper limit of the data type, the next attempt to generate a sequence number fails. Use the unsigned attribute if possible to allow a greater range. For example, if you use the tiny integer or the tiny int, the maximum permissible sequence number is 127. For the tiny integer unsigned, the maximum is 255. See the section 11.1.2 integer type, so we can check out this link if you want. You can check it out. Okay, so this is the medium for the ranges of all integer types. Okay, we have a note here. So for a multiple row insert, last insert ID and MySQL insert ID actually returns the auto underscore increment key from the first of the inserted rows. This enables multiple row inserts to be reproduced correctly on the servers in a replication setup. So to start with an auto underscore increment value other than 1, set the value with create table or alter table like this, database or InnoDB nodes. For more information about auto increment usage specific to InnoDB, we can check out this section, the 15.6.1.6, the auto increment handling and the InnoDB. And then we have my ISM nodes. So my ISM tables, you can specify auto underscore increment on a secondary column and a multiple column index. In this case, the generated value for the auto underscore increment column is calculated as max. So in the parentheses we have the auto underscore increment underscore column. We close the parentheses, we have the plus 1, where the prefix is equal to the given hyphen prefix. This is useful when you want to put data into order groups. So what we are gonna do right now is we need to create this table animals, but we already have this. We have already created the table animals, so let's drop it. So let's drop table animals like this, and we end up this with a semicolon. Okay, so now we're gonna create again a new table. So create table, and we are gonna name it animals. We are gonna put in the parentheses, and we're gonna have the grp. We're gonna have the grp, and it's gonna be the enum, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna pass in single quotes, and we're gonna pass in the fish, comma, single quotes. We're gonna have in the mammal, single quotes, comma. We're gonna have in the bird. Okay, so we're gonna close in with the parentheses, and then this is gonna be not null. We put a comma, and the next line is gonna be the ID, and the ID is gonna be medium, and it's gonna be an integer, and it's gonna be not null like this, and it's gonna be an auto underscore increment. Okay, so we separate it with a comma. To the next line is gonna be name, and it's gonna be char, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna pass in the value 30, and it's gonna be not null like this. We separate it with a comma, and to the next line we're gonna have the primary key. Inside of the parentheses we're gonna pass in the grp and also the ID. Okay, so we're gonna close in the parentheses, and we're gonna set the engine equal to my asm. So it's gonna be my ism like this. And okay, so we end up with a semicolon, and okay, query okay, 0 rows affected. Okay, that's fine. So again, we drop it the animals table, and we are creating a new table animals, but with new values. We're going to insert new values. So insert into animals, and this time is going to be grp, and it's going to be the name, and we're going to pass in the values. So to the next line we're going to pass in parentheses here, single quotes is going to be in lowercase, it's going to be mammal, and so we also gonna have in dog here. Okay, so comma, we're gonna open close parentheses, single quotes, comma, single quotes, and in this one is gonna be a mammal, and it's gonna be a cat. Okay, so comma, we're gonna have single quotes here, comma, single quotes. Okay, so we're gonna have a bird, and this is gonna be a penguin, so it's gonna be a penguin. like this. We separate it with a comma, and okay, open parenthesis, single quotes, comma, single quotes, and now we're gonna have in the fish, and okay, this is gonna be lax, comma, see, open parenthesis, single quotes, comma, single quotes. Okay, so we're gonna have a mammal, and here is gonna be a whale, comma, we open close parenthesis, single quotes, comma, single quotes, and finally we are gonna have the bird, and this one is gonna be the asterisk, and we are gonna end up this statement with a semicolon. So query okay, 6 rows affected, so that's fine. So now we're gonna pretty much select from all columns from the new table that we named animals, like this, and we are gonna order by, so it's gonna be order by, and it's gonna be the grp, comma, the id, and we end up with a semicolon. And this is where we have 3 columns, the grp, the fish, mammal, 3 mammals, 2 birds and 1 fish, and the ID is going to be, the ID for the fish is 1, mammal 1, okay, the other is going to be 2, and then the name is going to be lax, dog, cat, whale, and penguin. And this is exactly what we have here. In this case, when the auto underscore increment column is part of a multiple column index, auto underscore increment values are reused if you delete the row with the biggest auto underscore increment value in any group. This happens even for my ascent tables, for which auto underscore increment values normally are not reused. If the auto increment column is part of a multiple indexes, MySQL generates sequence values using the index that begins with the auto underscore increment column, if there is one. For example, if the animals table contains indexes, primary key and the parentheses grp and the id, and index and passing in the id, MySQL would ignore the primary key for generating sequences or sequence values. As a result, the table will contain a single sequence, not a sequence per grp value. And here we have more information about that. You can check out all these links.